Hello, my name is Sean Ennis from Ennis Management. Thank you for joining me once again on the Creative Collective. And today I'm very honored to be joined by a very special guest, author, self-publisher, and musician from Columbus, Ohio, Patricia M Goins.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining me.
No, you're more than welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, so I want to start with, you're quite an accomplished author. At this point, how many books have you written and self-produced?
Let me see. I did the Symbol, Swingers, This Can't Be Love, 7.
7. That is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, 7 books, yeah, because my very first book was a poetry book called Essence the Poetry of Life, and then the second one was a novel, This Can't Be Love, and I actually wrote 3 books for that series. And then I wrote a book called Are You Ready to Open Your Gifts from God? And then after that, I wrote these last 2, which is completely different from what I normally do. One is called Swingers, that the S is actually a Z. And then the last book is called The Symbol. So, yeah.
And what got you into initially writing poetry?
You know what? I've always loved writing. For some reason, writing has always been soothing for me, and I've always been able to create stuff. I remember even as a little girl, I used to create stuff and, write little stories, put little stick figures and write little stories up under it, like she ran to the store and I had a little stick figure running, I've always loved writing of some type. So, poetry was all I knew how to do. And I wrote a poem called This Can't Be Love. I was in the middle of an abusive relationship actually at the time when I wrote the poem. And that poem just turned into much more than I ever expected, because it turned into books and movies, and it led to radio shows and music, and it just took me on a path I never expected.
And so, initially starting out with poetry, what kind of made you confident enough to tackle the challenge of writing a full-length book?
When I wrote the poem, This Can't Be Love, it was just so powerful to me because it spoke of someone who, was in an abusive situation. It's just like, this can't be love, And God had always told me that I was going to write a novel. He always told me that. So when I was trying to decide what I was going, I just felt like This Can't Be Love embodied a woman who had went through so much like I had in my real life, and I just wanted to be able to tell the story of overcoming my abuse as a child and all the things I went through, and I just felt like that poem would be a good way to start. And so that's kind of like, I just said a prayer. I asked God to help me write the book. I asked God that once it was done, that He'd help me make a movie out of it, and I just started writing. But This Can't Be Love was where it started at. The poem, This Can't Be Love.
And that's really inspiring that you were able to use such a challenging event and period of time from your history and really turn it into something wonderful, a creative piece of literature. How were you able to do that?
As far as the book, the movie, like what are you talking about exactly? Like, how was I able to turn the book into the movie and all that kind of stuff?
No. It can be going through a traumatic event.
My life. Oh, okay. So, it was like, I guess you could say it was kind of like my own personal therapy. It was my way of just, I wanted to bring awareness to help so that other children didn't have to go through what I went through. And also just kind of like self-therapy, just helping me get through it. Not because I was still in pain, but just because I needed to write about it. So, I just started writing. I mean, I can't say there was one particular situation that just made me say, oh, I'm going to turn this into a book. It was just a process, an unexpected process.
And you said you've turned the book into a movie?
Right. So I always knew before I even wrote the book that I wanted it to be a movie. Like I always knew that. That was always the plan. I didn't always know I wanted the poem to be a book. I did not know that. But I always knew I wanted the book to be a movie. You understand what I'm saying? Like I wrote the poem, and I had the poem for maybe a year or two before I ever looked at it and thought about turning it into a book. And then before I put pen to paper, I prayed and I asked God that I wanted it to be a movie too. So it was just like, it was a combination prayer before I started writing the book. But the poem I had for a while.
And you made this film independently?
Right. I had a very good team. I actually went to Clayton County Library, and they allowed me to hold an audition there, and 100 people showed up. And so we was able to fill all the different roles. But even before that, I had moved back to Chicago. Before the audition, I had moved to Chicago. When I was in Chicago, I met a young lady who was into plays and stuff like that, and she really guided me towards writing a script. So by the time I moved back to Atlanta, I had the script already. And then we just went forward with, I did The Love House first, which is actually the second book in the series, as a short film for the BET Blends on Talent Contest. And then I ended up turning This Can't Be Love. That was the next project. I ended up turning it into a movie, and it took us 7 years to complete it. So I didn't have a traditional investor. We had to hire, for each scene, we hired different cameramen just to get it done, and it took 7 years.
And how did you stay committed over that 7-year period?
The grace of God, because every time I got to a point where I got frustrated and I was ready to quit, it's like I would get an inspiration of email from somewhere, or someone would be like, "No, you put too much into it to quit." It was like there were times when I was just like, "I'm tired of this. I don't want to fight this battle no more." To complete something like, I had to fight with myself, but whenever I was low in the spirit, God would always send something or someone to encourage me and let me know, you got to keep going, because this is not about you. I had to realize that this book, this movie, everything, the path I'm on, is not about me. It's about other people, and God is just using me.
And can you talk about the process of creating your own independent film?
Well, first, of course, you have to have what your topic is going to be about. The next thing you want to do is you want to definitely have a script made. I use Final Draft to help me, it's a program to help me actually write the script. And I already had the book, so it was kind of easy to flow from the book to the movie. I just had to make a few changes. When in a book, it's you're reading everything. In a movie, you're seeing everything. So in a book, you're telling what's going on, and in a movie, you have to show what's going on. So there had to be things that I had to let alleviate, and there was extra things I had to create to make the story flow. But once I had the script done, it was a matter of finding the actresses and actors and doing the holding auditions. And after that, it was about training, because most of the people that we used had never acted before. So we had a whole year of training. And I actually have Marvin Baldwin Jr., who's actually my co-host on the Move Radio that we do on 1100 AM. He actually allowed us to use his home for a whole year just to train the actors for the different roles before we ever started filming. And so, but then I went through some issues. I moved back to Chicago, but the movie wasn't done. So there was times I had to catch the Greyhound down here. It was crazy. But God put in my spirit that this was an assignment that I had to see to completion. And then I had, Courtney Butcher. She was my partner. And I had different people throughout the years to either help me with it or motivate me. Flando Lawson, Marvin Baldwin Jr. The list is so many people who encouraged me to keep going even when I wanted to quit.
And you talked about it briefly, but can you go a little bit more in depth? What are some of the differences from writing a book to writing a script?
So in a book, you have, in a book, the person is reading your words. So you have to describe things in a way that they're able to visualize it within their mind. So they have to be able to see in their mind what you're trying to portray. You have to. So there's a lot more dialogue. There's a lot more. The trees was green and it was blowing in the wind, and all, you have to be more descriptive because you're painting a scene. But in a movie, when you're doing a script, it's more about action. It's more about movement. You don't have to so much describe things. Doesn't have to be so much dialogue because a lot of things are done. It's seen. So you don't have to put, she raised her hand and scratched her head. The actress is going to do that. You just might say little things within the script, but the actress is going to make it her own. It's just more visual. Things is more visual. They have to see, they're able to see things. So it's more about natural movement, whereas with a book you have to describe things.
And can you talk about some of the people that played an important role in helping you create your film?
The actors, the actresses, Marvin Baldwin Jr., Patrice, Bill, Cedric Fulton. The list is just so long of people that helped me. I can't even mention everybody, but there was, it was a lot of people. It was not a project that I did by myself. And the crazy thing is, it took so long. Cedric Fulton didn't even live in Atlanta. He played David, the husband, but he didn't even live in Atlanta. But he was dedicated to it, and for the whole 7 years, his scenes didn't actually come towards the end, but he waited the whole 7 years to do his scenes. Like people literally stayed on the project at least until they did their scenes. Like that's how dedicated everybody was, how God had everybody focused. And everything I needed came when I needed it.
Can you talk about the process of self-publishing a book?
The process. So basically, after you have written your manuscript, then you want to start looking around for who's going to publish it. You have to decide whether or not you're going to do. You're going to get your own ISBN number and your own barcode, or if you're going to go to companies like Lulu.com. Amazon has one. It used to be called Creative Space, but I believe they changed the name. But it's still with that Amazon company. Author House. Look, baby, there's so many different online companies now. It's not like when I was young. When I first wrote my book, and it was just like, who do I go through? And it wasn't that many. There's lots of them. So it's just a matter of doing your research to figure out which one best suits your needs. You will have to do an investment. You will have to pay to have it published. For some of them, Lulu.com, you don't have to pay to have it published. But then you get a smaller amount of royalty. It's just pros and cons to everything. But once you have found who you want to go through with the publisher, and you have your ISBN number, or they provide you with one, then it's just a matter of getting your cover design. Sometimes the companies will provide customized covers. Sometimes you have to come with your covers. And then from there, it's just a matter of them putting it together. The most difficult part about self-publishing is not putting the book together. The most difficult part of self-publishing is marketing and promotion and getting people to see the value of wanting to buy your book if that's your end, if that's the value you have, for your finished work. If you want other people to buy it, promotion is probably the most tedious, the most expensive, the hardest part. Writing it and also completing the manuscript. Completing the manuscript and promoting it are probably the two most tasks you have to stay committed. Because you become frustrated. You can become frustrated you can become frustrated if you're trying to write a manuscript that's 300 pages long or 200 pages long. You have a desire to skip stuff sometimes just because you're tired of writing. You can't, because you need to get all those details in there so they can understand the story. And finishing it is important. And the same with promoting. You can spend money and time and stuff trying to get people to recognize you in a field that is now swamped with independent authors. You know, it's not as easy as it used to be.
And what's a piece of advice that you can give to other independent authors to help them successfully promote their book?
Come up with a marketing plan. Have your marketing plan, and have a desire of what you want, where you want the book to go. What are your visions for the book? And once you have your marketing plan in place, just go forward and don't worry about the sales, or don't worry about things that are having stress and if you want to quit. Just keep on rolling, keep on doing, because you never know. If someone had told me back in 2000, and I want to say 2000, because that's when I wrote the song, if someone had told me that This Can't Be Love would turn into a book, a 3-series book, a movie, and it would lead me to a radio show, it would lead me to live in Chicago, Atlanta, that it would take me, all these different avenues that this book and movie and stuff has taken me in, I would have been like, tripping. I never would imagine. So just take your step of faith, go on the journey, don't try to control it too much, and just flow with it. You just see what happens.
And can you talk about your 3-book series?
Yeah, so This Can't Be Love is the first book. You start with the young lady, and then the story continues. So you've heard of, General Hospital, right? I know everybody grew up with General Hospital, As the World Turns, Guiding Light, all them kind of stories, those television stories that your grandma used to look at. So with General Hospital, all the stories surround the hospital. So for my book series, the 3 books surround a place called the Love House, which is a domestic violence shelter for battered women. So the 3 books are all, they all are about this Love House and the people that are involved in it. The women that come in for safety, the workers that are there, their stories, it's just like it all surrounds the Love House. So you have This Can't Be Love, the Love House, and then Ladies Delight. Ladies Delight is the last book that I've written thus far, although I might do another one, but the last one that I've written so far is Ladies Delight. And Ladies Delight is about the entertainment industry and the domestic violence type stuff that happens in the industry.
And you mentioned that you've written 2 newer books that you said were different than your works previously.
I'm sorry?
And you mentioned that you've written 2 newer books that you felt were different than your previous works?
Right. So, Swingers, which is spelled Swingerz, is more than what it sounds like. When you hear swingers, you're just thinking, oh, okay, this couple that swings or whatever. But this story is much deeper than that, because it's about a wife who she loves her husband, and she's willing to do just about anything to save an 8-year marriage. They met when they were in middle school, and she loves him, and he loves her too, but he has an addiction. So when one of his lovers tries to run her over with the car, he finally agrees to go to counseling. They go to counseling. He admits he has an addiction, and she's just like, she's at which end, like, I love you. I'm trying to save this marriage. What do I do? And so he's just like, well, if you go with me to the swingers club, then it won't really be considered cheating. So they end up going to a swingers club here in Atlanta, but never in her, and she doesn't want to, because she's already been sharing her husband. She doesn't want to, but she's trying to save the marriage. But when they go to this club, nothing in their wildest imagination could have prepared her for, or him for, the level, the path of betrayal, and murder and suspense and all the twists and turns and things that happen when she decides to go. So it's an erotica book. Kind of reminds you of like Zane, but it has a plot and a story, and it's really good. And then Swingers, the symbol is a science fiction thriller, and it actually came to me in a dream. crazy.
And can you talk about the symbol?
So the symbol surround all these stories are based out of Atlanta. So in the symbol, there's someone that's going around, and the serial killer is going around killing people and putting a symbol on their stomach and taking their eye out or whatever. So everybody's like, you know. And there happens to be this hospital called Savannah Hospital, and there's a nurse. There's nurses there. One is a male named Joseph and a female named Mary. And Joseph has always loved Mary. He's always had a crush on her, but he's never really told her how he feels. And right when he feels like he's ready to tell her, a new doctor comes to the hospital called Devin. And so she ends up falling in love with him, and they end up, you know, being together or whatever. But nobody, and Joseph's crush is, of course, he always loved her. But there's more to Dr. Devin than anybody could ever imagine. And somehow he's tied in with the serial killer. And the secrets that they discover could actually annihilate humankind, including Mary and her unborn child. So it's like a really science fiction thriller, crazy thing. And it came to me in a dream. I woke up out the dream and knew exactly. I wrote it. I knew exactly what it was supposed to be. And so everybody who's been reading it's like they couldn't put it down.
Well, both of those books sound like two amazing stories. I can't wait to read them.
Yeah, everybody. So I've always love writing, so I enjoy writing, and I'm able to be real creative with it. Sometimes more creative than others. And they always have a plot and a meaning. There's always, even if it's an erotica book, there's always a meaning. There's always, you know, you don't walk away from my books confused. You walk away knowing that there was a meaning behind it.
All right, so now I want to switch gears a little bit. Can you talk about Around the World Media?
So, Around the World Media, which actually started while I was in Chicago, I had already written the 3-book series, and I was looking. It was so hard trying to get into bookstores and really promote myself as an independent author back then. So my goal was to start a business that would allow me to market myself, but then also other people, because I knew that there were other people who were going through exactly what I was going through. So my goal was to market myself, and in the meantime, between time, also market other people from around the world.
And Around the World Media, do you work with other authors, musicians, filmmakers?
I work with all different types of genres of everything. Authors, musicians, filmmakers, anybody who's independent. You know, anybody who's independent. And I also deal with, you know, businesses if they need startup businesses and they need promotion and marketing and stuff like that. We do a lot of that for, you know, through social media marketing, through the radio station or whatever. But I hone in on anybody who's independent because they need the most help. Yeah.
And can you talk about your radio show?
Yeah, I have. Like I said, the books and everything kind of led me towards the radio. So the very first radio show that I had was in Chicago on 102.3 FM, and it was called The Vision. Once I left Chicago and moved to Atlanta, I had a radio show on 1100 AM, which is actually where I'm at now. And it was called Around the World Radio, where I was with Sky Keaton, Courtney Butcher, and Marvin, and a few other people. And then that show ended up ending. I ended up moving back to Chicago, and so I did some indie type work on a radio station in Chicago, college radio. And then I came back, and then me and Marvin started on the news. So I've been on the radio for some years. And this last one that we have on the move, Unscripted, me and Marvin have been working together for about 2 years now, but we'll stay at the same station, 1100 AM, or they changed the name to www.real1100.com. They're on iHeartRadio, they're on TuneIn, you know, it's landline and internet based, so You know, we usually do our Facebook Live, Instagram Live. We just had the president of North Brown College on here because, you know, they're trying to save the college and they're going back to their accreditation. So we've had a lot. We had Mr. Hankey on the show. We've had Zane on the show, the author Zane. We've had Angie Stone and D'Angelo's son. We've had so many different shows. And Mr. Hankey living my best time. He's actually the producer of the song Superwoman, which is the soundtrack song for the movie. This Can't Be Love.
And I'm glad you mentioned that. Can you talk about your song Superwoman?
So Superwoman is basically a soundtrack song for the movie. I had met Mr. Hankey when I was in Atlanta before I moved to Chicago, and we had a radio show called Talk That Talk, and Around the World Radio, whatever. I met him then. When I moved to Chicago, I kept the connection with him, and I had started dealing with independent artists and doing events and stuff through Around the World Media. But then I decided to start working on myself as an artist, and I reached out to him for a beat. He sent me a beat. I listened to it. I recorded on it, and the rest is history. You know, it has not reached the masses, but it's definitely been my best song. And once the movie comes out, you'll understand the significance of the song.
And how long have you been writing and recording your own original music?
I actually started while I was in Chicago, I want to say 2013, 2014, somewhere around here. I started with doing events and trying to promote other artists, but they were working my nerves. So I started pushing myself. I'm like, you can sing, and you need this movie, you got this movie, you might be on soundtrack. So, and I had sent Mr. Hankey one of my videos of me singing, and he was like, oh, you got a beautiful voice. And it just kind of went from there.
And who are some of your musical influences?
India Irie, Bill Scott, Lauryn Hill, Music Soul Child, Anthony Hamilton. Like, I love Neil Soul.
What inspires you to make music?
Life. I generally sing about real life situations, things that people go through. You know, Superwoman is really the song about how powerful a couple can be when they come together in agreement. And I feel like my show with Marvin is a representative of that, because he is definitely the male, the Superman doing his part, and I'm the woman, the Superwoman doing my part, and we come together for one common goal, and we do our thing, and it's been successful. So it was just really about a man and woman coming together. But I generally write about life. I have a song called Situations, where you just, you know, sometimes everybody wants to be in control of the relationship, but there's give and take, you know. And when you don't honor that give and take, you have situations happen, and somebody ends up getting hurt, the relationship ends. So I write about life. I write songs about life, about real life stuff.
And can you describe the experience of performing music in front of an audience?
Oh man, there is nothing more exciting than being on stage. The adrenaline that you get from the energy from the crowd is just amazing. So I was actually through an organization called Coast to Coast Mixtape. I was able to perform Superwoman on stage in Chicago, Atlanta, Miami, New York, and LA. So, and everywhere I went, they just loved the song. But then I'm a performer. I learned how to perform through Coast to Coast. So I know how to perform, and it's a lot of fun. And I just recently did one with Ashton Shows here in Atlanta. So, yeah, it's nothing like the energy from the crowd. When you're able to get the crowd involved in your song, you know you are doing your thing as a performer.
What advice would you give to an aspiring musician or a musician that's just starting their career?
I would say, don't spend all your time in the studio. I would say create something that's different from everybody else. Don't rap or sing or try to be like the next person, because there's a whole bunch of them already out here. Be unique in your style. Be unique. Make sure you have radio-friendly music as well as your street music, and don't be afraid to perform. You will sell more music when you perform what you've created. Don't become a studio artist and never want to come out and smell the flowers. You're going to make money when you perform. You've got, and in this day and age, with everything being digital, you have to perform to make money. Because if you waiting on those streaming sales and you see them 1, 2, 3 pennies, you're not going to be happy about it. You've got to go out there now. They're getting away from mixtapes, so everybody's making money selling mixtapes. It's not as easy. It's digital now, so you've got to perform. They got to know you as an artist. They have to see you, you know. So just be prepared for, you know, the journey, and don't get hung up on the money. If you get hung up on the money, you're gonna get discouraged. And if you have to pay somewhere to perform, pay to perform until they get to know you. Build your fan base. Once you build your fan base, then they'll be paying you. But everybody got to do their time. So don't come out the studio thinking you're a superstar.
And can you share your social media links?
Yes. So on Instagram, my social media link is Patricia Marie Goins. So Patricia Marie Marie Goins Goins. On Twitter, I am ATW Media. ATW Radio. I'm sorry, ATW Radio. On Facebook, I'm Patricia M Goins. And then I have a website where you can actually look at the movie trailer and order books and songs. And that's PatriciaGoinsBooks.com. Patricia Goins Goins Books BOOKS.com. You can also go on YouTube and put in my name, Superwoman. You'll see all the videos and places I perform.
Is there anyone you'd like to acknowledge for offering financial or emotional support?
I want to thank Kenny Stout. I want to thank Marvin Baldwin Jr. I want to thank Courtney Butcher. I want to thank Philando Lawson. Most people know him as Mr. Flamboyant. I want to thank Patrice Bill, James Austin. It's just the list is, I don't even think I could just list everybody. My mother, my sister, Nicole Goins Turner, Anthony Stevenson, my mom, just everybody who is my children online, my children, because without their support, none of this would be. Without their belief in a mother who's always chasing a dream, none of this would be. None of this would be. Everything I do is for you.
And for anyone who's interested in working with Around the World Media, what's the best way for them to contact you?
They can contact me from the radio show, email, onthemoveshow@gmail.com. At hotmail.com, sorry. onthemoveshow@hotmail.com. Or they can reach out to my personal email, ebony142@hotmail.com. Email is the best way, because me and this phone, sometimes I don't hear it ring. Email is the best way.
And as we wrap up, is there anything you'd like to say?
Well, they can go to aroundtheworldmedia.com and they can actually look at some of the different pictures and videos and stuff and everything that we've done. And I just want to say, regardless of what your talent is, what your gift is, know that it is a gift. And once you start walking on the path towards whatever your gift is, God will provide. God will make a way. Enjoy the journey and don't worry about the destination.
Well, I'd like to give a very big thank you to my guest today, Patricia M Goins. As always, write your comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video. And for all of your promotion, marketing, and music career consulting needs, email ennisproductions@gmail.com.